Well, they've taken over in Sacramento. The Democrats, of course, have that super majority. And the leader of the Democrats is the Senate President Darrell Steinberg, who says we're going to unveil a plan to reform the initiative process.
Oh, no.
Yep. The 101-year-old direct democracy process needs updating. And I like the first one. My package will include Steinberg's package.
Yeah, I want to hear Darrell Steinberg talk about his package.
Indirect initiative proposal, which, listen to this, would let the legislature amend or enact an initiative proposal with proponents okay. In other words, if the proponents have come forward with a ballot initiative and they're going to go out there and collect signatures, the legislature would like to have some time with them to see if they can't sit with them and perhaps amend it or work with them to enact a different one.
In other words, make some kind of deal, pay them off in some way so the legislature can block something bad from happening in their view.
They also want to be able to put statutory initiatives like tax increases on the ballot with a majority vote.
Oh.
They'd have to change the state constitution, which requires 2/3. Even though they have 2/3 now, they're looking ahead to the future. See how this works? Now that they have their 2/3, they want to make changes so that if they don't have their 2/3 anymore, they still have enough power. You get where they're going with this?
This is a very dangerous time here.
It is.
Because with their 2/3 supermajority and Jerry Brown's approval, they could end up radically changing the way California does business and the way we use the referendum to hold them in check. This one-party rule is not a good thing. This one-party union thuggery that we're living under could really cost us a lot of money over many years for the rest of our lives.
Here comes the Molly Munger rule. This is another idea of Steinberg's. Require that initiative proponents rely on just a certain number of small donors or volunteers to collect the signatures needed for the ballot. Apparently, they were really irritated by Molly Munger, who used her own money to pay for signature gatherers to qualify her measure. In other words, they want to make it so that you have to use small donors or volunteers during the signature gathering process, rather than have one person like Molly Munger hand over millions of dollars. You see where they're going with this? Because they believe then one person has too much say in whether or not a measure gets on the ballot. We don't like that.
But she and her brother, who also backed
Charles Munger Jr.
Charles Munger, I forget how many billions they blew combined. How many millions?
It wasn't billions. Yeah.
It was millions.
Seemed like it.
But it was tens of millions of dollars that the two of them blew.
Yes.
Which,
this bothers some of those in Sacramento because they believe those people are power brokers.
But it's exactly
and of
what
course,
the
Munger
union
got
does.
in the way of Jerry Brown, remember. That's really what this is about.
Well, that's the thing. The legislature thought Molly Munger was in the way. They disagreed outright with Charles Munger. But their unions produce way more money than the Mungers do.
Correct. But they'll say that's a collective of individuals in a union.
All right, but here's the truth. They want to silence the opposition. Munger was getting in the way. Molly Munger was in the way. Charles Munger had something they disagreed with, and they want those people silenced. They only want their union money to be to have all the influence on an issue. Just the union money. Nobody else's money can be involved. Just the union money, because they know taxpayers can't organize. The only hope the taxpayers have is if there is some very wealthy savior who wants to come in and personally sponsor a measure on our behalf. But absent that man or woman, the taxpayers can go nowhere here. We never get anything on the ballot. I mean, even to remove Davis years ago, you needed Darrell Issa to come in with what was it, like a couple $1 million, I remember, to get the recall measure on the ballot. The taxpayers are always screwed on this. The legislature always has the unions.
And this one from Darrell Steinberg, and I think this would conjure up memories of Prop 13. Require ballot measures to sunset or be reapproved after 10 years. There's probably somebody like Steinberg who thought of that one thinking, that's been around since the 70s. If there's only a way we could have had it sunset, end, or we could have people vote again on it automatically, we wouldn't be burdened with something like Prop 13.
Every one of those benefits one-party rule and benefits the unions. None of his ideas benefit us. None of them. He's in it for the unions.
All right, when we come back, the search for Christopher Dorner, your update.
Radio.